So, do you remember identifying and interpreting? I called it identiterpreting the parts of standard form. Um, ax plus by equals c. The a and the b are the rates, and then the amount of things in the scenario are the x and the y, and then the c is the total sum, and it's a constant and it's influenced by whatever you're counting and whatever the rate is. So let's look at this picture here. This little kid's at a theme park, and the sign says you must be at least this tall to ride. So you must be at least 54 inches. He's not tall enough. So what does it mean to be at least 54 inches tall? It means to have a height greater than or equal to 54 inches tall, height less than or equal to 54 inches tall, a height greater than 54 inches, a height less than 54 inches, a minimum height of 54 inches tall, a maximum height of 54 inches tall. Pause the video and just give a thought about that. What does it mean to be at least 54 inches tall? So, to be at least 54 inches tall, that means that you have to have a height that is greater than or equal to 54 inches. So let's say you're 60 inches tall, right? You are at least 54 inches tall. Your height's greater than or equal to 54 inches. And then also a minimum height of 54 inches tall, right? So that means that your 54 is the smallest height you can be to ride that ride, and then anything above that's all good. So at minimum 54 inches tall, at least 54 inches tall. So in order to ride this ride, your height must be greater than or equal to 54 inches. We can write this inequality to represent at least 54 inches tall. Let's look at another example. So here's another example, Uber XL. And this Uber XL can hold 1 to 6 passengers. So what does it mean if an Uber XL can hold at most 6 passengers? It means the number of passengers the car can hold is greater than or equal to 6 passengers, less than or equal to 6 passengers, greater than 6 passengers, less than 6 passengers, a minimum of 6 passengers, or a maximum of 6 passengers. That should say maximum of 6 passengers, not maximum height of 6 passengers. So pause the video and give it a thought. What does it mean if an Uber XL can hold at most 6 passengers? Okay, so I hope you thought about it. If an Uber XL can hold at most 6 passengers, it means the number of passengers the car can hold is less than or equal to 6 passengers, and a maximum of 6 passengers. So the Uber XL can hold 6 passengers, so that's why it's equal to 6 passengers or less. 5 passengers, 4 passengers, 3 passengers, 2 passengers, 1 passenger, no passengers. And the Uber XL can hold a maximum of 6 passengers. So at most, the max, it can't go beyond 6. You can't have 7 passengers, even if your friend's trying to squeeze in. Can't do it. Okay? So that's the difference between at least and at most. So let's look at an example using linear standard form. Joy wants to buy strawberries and raspberries to bring to a party. Strawberries cost $1.60 and raspberries cost $1.75 per pound. If she only has $10, so keep in mind, only has $10 means she has a maximum of $10 to spend on berries. Which inequality represents the situation where she buys X pounds of strawberries and Y pounds of raspberries? So let's annotate this a little bit. Okay, so strawberries cost $1.60 per pound. I forgot to highlight that, per pound. And so we know that per tells us that's a rate, right? So per, we've got our first rate. That's our rate 1. And our item 1 is strawberries. Remember, annotating is so important. Okay, our raspberries are our item 2. And our cost per pound, this is our rate 2. And you can see that in each equation, you have a rate times a variable. So we've got to make note of which variable represents what, okay? So we've got X pounds of strawberries and we've got Y pounds of raspberries. So let's see which ones we can cancel out, okay? Pause the video and think about which answer choices can we cancel out. Which answer choices have the wrong rate next to the variable. Okay, so hopefully you figured out that it can't be answer choice 3 or 4 because 175 is the cost for the raspberries, not the strawberries, and strawberries is X. Okay, so it's in between 1 and 2, and we have to think about the scenario like Joy only has $10, meaning she has a maximum of $10. So that means that for the strawberries and the raspberries, she can't spend more than $10. She can spend $10, but she can't spend more than that. She could spend less than $10. So if she can spend less, then we have to think of which symbol goes with that, and that's answer choice 1, right? The total amount she spends for strawberries and raspberries at that rate has to be less than or equal to $10. So take a screenshot of these notes for interpreting linear standard form inequalities. We've got all the context clues that go with ax plus by is greater than or equal to c, and then ax plus by is less than or equal to c. We're going to need this when we do the practice in our Nearpod lesson.